a family business. The barn at River Edge Vineyard was glowing with golden lights, casting a warm hue over the wooden beams and rustic decorations. The air was filled with laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the rich aroma of freshly baked bread and aged wine. Tonight was a special night, our annual harvest celebration, a tradition that had been in our family for generations. My father stood at the front, raising his glass as he spoke, his voice strong and full of pride. "Welcome, everyone, to our annual harvest celebration," he announced, looking around the crowd of family, friends, and vineyard staff. "This year is particularly special because it marks an exciting new chapter in our family's legacy. We are thrilled to share some incredible news. Andrea, fresh from completing her MBA, will be taking over as CEO of River Edge Vineyard." The room erupted into applause. Guests cheered, some raising their glasses in celebration, while others leaned in to congratulate my younger sister, Andrea. She stepped forward gracefully, beaming with excitement. She wore an elegant designer dress, her perfectly styled hair falling in soft waves around her shoulders. She looked every bit the part of a young, ambitious CEO. I, on the other hand, sat frozen in my seat, my wine glass hovering midair. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. 6 months ago, I had given up everything, my entire life savings, to save this vineyard from foreclosure, and now, I was watching my younger sister, who had never worked a single day in the fields, step forward to take the reins. "My name is Jessica, and I'm 35 years old. I built my investment consulting firm from the ground up, working tirelessly for years without ever asking my parents for financial help. While Andrea was studying for her MBA, paid for entirely by our parents, I was pulling 60-hour work weeks, learning the hard way what it took to succeed. That's why, when my parents called me in a panic 6 months ago, their voices shaking as they explained that the vineyard was about to be lost to the bank, I didn't hesitate. Without a second thought, I transferred $850,000, every penny I had, to save it. "We're family," they had said, "we trust each other." And now, here we were. My father's voice rang out again, cutting through my thoughts. With her business education and fresh perspective, he continued, "Andrea is the perfect choice to lead River Edge into a new era of innovation and growth. She understands the traditions of our vineyard, but she also has the modern knowledge to take us forward." I swallowed hard, my eyes flicking toward Andrea. I watched as she basked in the praise, shaking hands and accepting compliments with effortless charm. The same sister who, during her college years, had spent more time taking glamorous photos in the vineyard than actually learning anything about the business. The same sister who, just last Christmas, couldn't tell the difference between our Cabernet Sauvignon and our Merlot in a blind taste test. My mother placed a gentle hand on my arm. "Jessica, honey, I hope you understand," she said softly, her eyes filled with what I could only assume was sympathy. "Andrea's degree makes her the natural choice to handle the business side of things." I turned to her, forcing a warm smile to my lips. I could feel the ice spreading through my chest, but I kept my voice light. "Of course, Mom," I said, nodding. "Andrea will do great." Lifting my glass, I stood up, forcing the lump in my throat to stay down. My voice was steady as I raised a toast. "To the new CEO of River Edge Vineyard." The room filled with cheers once more, glasses clinked, conversations resumed, and my parents beamed with pride. I smiled, keeping up the charade, but inside, my mind was already racing. I needed air. Excusing myself, I stepped out into the cool night, the crisp autumn breeze hitting my skin like a wake-up call. My hands trembled slightly as I reached for my phone. I scrolled through my contacts until I found the name I was looking for, Rachel Thompson, a ruthless corporate lawyer I had met at a few wine industry events, someone who knew the ins and outs of business deals, contracts, and, more importantly, family betrayals. Taking a deep breath, I typed out a message. "I need your help with a family business matter. Are you free to meet tomorrow?" The response came almost immediately. 10 a.m., at my office. Bring any documentation you have. I exhaled slowly, my grip tightening around my phone. The battle for River Edge Vineyard was just beginning. The price of betrayal. I carefully signed the last document, my pen gliding across the page with precision. The weight of my decision settled on my shoulders, but I pushed the emotions aside. Business was business. With a quiet exhale, I opened my laptop and navigated to the real estate listing I had been eyeing for weeks, the Marshall Creek Vineyard. 200 acres of prime land nestled in the valley, directly across from my family's vineyard, river's edge. The soil composition was excellent, the sun exposure ideal, and most importantly, the property had a clear, unobstructed view of my family's estate. A cruel irony, really. The very land that once rivaled river's edge was about to become mine. I was midway through a virtual tour of the south-facing slopes of Marshall Creek when my apartment door flew open. My father stood there, red-faced, gripping a crumpled piece of paper in his trembling hand. He was breathing heavily, his chest rising and falling in erratic bursts. He looked as if he had run all the way here, though I suspected the rage coursing through him had more to do with his appearance than the physical effort. I calmly minimized the browser window and leaned back in my chair. "Criminal charges," he rasped, waving the letter like a white flag of surrender. "Against your own family? I raised you better than this." I tilted my head, studying him, the man who had taught me everything about wine, about soil, about running a business, except he had also taught me something else: never to trust blindly. "Did you raise me to accept being robbed?" I asked, my voice steady. "Because that's what you did. You took my $850,000, my life savings, and spent it on luxury cars, Italian vacations, and a brand new estate in Napa, all while plotting to cut me out of the business I saved." His mouth opened, then shut. He swallowed hard, struggling to come up with a response. "We never meant." I held up a hand, stopping him mid-sentence. "Save it," I said coldly. "I've seen the financial records, the new LLC, the asset transfers, the money funneled through side accounts. You didn't just betray me, Dad, you tried to make sure I couldn't fight back." I pushed back my chair and stood, my posture firm. "You have 40 hours to return my investment with interest, or Rachel files everything with the SEC. The color drained from his face. He stumbled slightly, gripping the back of a chair for support. "You'd destroy your sister's future," he choked out. "She just started as CEO." A bitter laugh escaped my lips. "Andrea's future?" I repeated. "What about mine? I earned that money while she was posting Instagram photos from business school, money you promised would secure my place in the family business." His expression flickered with something close to shame before he straightened. "We can work something out," he said quickly. Maybe Andrea could share the CEO position, a co-leadership arrangement." I shook my head. "I don't want to share leadership with Andrea," I said flatly. "I want my money back, every penny, plus interest. Then you'll never have to worry about me competing with your precious CEO again." His eyes darkened at the word competing. "What does that mean?" he demanded. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed on my desk. I glanced at the screen, perfect timing. I answered on speaker. "Hi, Jessica, great news." The real estate agent's cheerful voice rang out. "The owner is very interested in your offer. They love your vision for expanding the vineyard's production. When can you meet to discuss terms?" I lifted my gaze, locking eyes with my father. His expression crumpled as realization dawned. Marshall Creek wasn't just any vineyard. It was River's Edge's greatest competition back when my grandfather ran things. Their wines had consistently outperformed ours, until the owner retired, and the property fell into neglect. "You wouldn't," he whispered, his voice laced with disbelief. "Wouldn't what?" I asked, feigning innocence. "Start my own vineyard? Compete with the business that stole from me?" His silence was all the confirmation I needed. "I learned everything about winemaking from Grandpa," I reminded him. "While Andrea was busy studying business strategy, I was studying soil acidity and fermentation techniques." His jaw tightened. "Your grandfather would be ashamed," he tried, throwing one last emotional jab. I didn't flinch. "No," I said, "he'd be proud that I'm not letting you and Andrea destroy his legacy with your greed." I turned back to my laptop. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a property to buy." Tick-tock on that 40-hour deadline. Dad left without another word, slamming the door behind him. Within minutes, my phone exploded with messages. "Andrea. How dare you threaten Dad like this? You're just jealous of my success. Mom's crying because of you." I blocked her number and returned to the Marshall Creek listing. The property needed work, but I could already see the potential. More importantly, its premium grapes and higher elevation would allow me to produce wines that would directly compete with River's Edge's best sellers. My phone buzzed again. This time, It was Rachel. "They're scrambling," she reported. "Just got a call from their lawyer. Looks like they're trying to secure an emergency loan." I smiled. Either way, I won. Either they gave me my money back, or I got Marshall Creek, and River's Edge would finally learn what real competition felt like. 12 hours left. The knock on my office door came late that night. I wasn't surprised when I saw Mom standing there, clutching a thick manila envelope. Her face carried the same exhausted expression she always wore when playing peacemaker between Andrea and me as kids. She sat down across from me, exhaling shakily. "Your father's had to be sedated," she said. "His blood pressure is through the roof. Are you happy now?" I remained impassive. "What's in the envelope?" I asked. She slid it across the desk. "The best we can do. We've mortgaged everything. There's $600,000 here. That's all the bank would give us. We can pay the rest in installments." I didn't touch it. "That wasn't the deal," I said evenly. "The deal was $850,000 plus interest. All of it, or Rachel files tomorrow morning." Her composure cracked. "We don't have it," she snapped. "Andrea's been calling every bank in Texas. No one will lend us more without auditing the books, and you know we can't allow that." I leaned forward. "Because of what they'd find?" I asked. Mom's face went still. "How did you?" "I have copies of everything, Mom. Every transaction, every transfer, every fraudulent business expense." She switched tactics. "Think about what you're doing. If you file that lawsuit, it won't just hurt us. The Vineyard's reputation will be ruined. You'll destroy everyone, the workers, the distributors, their families, all because of your grudge." I met her gaze, unflinching. "Don't you dare put this on me." I turned my laptop around, showing her the Marshall Creek listing. "You have 11 hours to find the money," I said, "or River's Edge won't survive the competition." Her hands trembled as she stood up. "You've changed," she whispered. "No," I said, "I've just stopped letting you manipulate me." She left in silence. And I started drafting the purchase agreement.